How's it going? So, I haven't been playing League for 1.5 days now, because I deleted on... When did I delete? Monday? Or on Sunday? I think it was Sunday. It was basically after the... I've been dodging for 7.5 hours. And in my lobby the guy was... Well, sure, I'll show it to you, one sec. Yeah, so it was after this moment when I was dodging for 7.5 hours, 92 dodges. And then I get into this lobby, and this guy's like, "Hey, do you want me to play Vi or Brand?" And this guy says Vi, and he says, "Well, I never used her before, but I got a skin for her." So do you see? If you are a very competitive person like myself, and you really like to control things and you like to win, League of Legends is probably an unplayable game for you. And I will tell you why, because even the top players in League, we're talking about people who have incredible genetical gifts, talents, and they come from a background of gamers. They simply cannot control the outcome of the game. Like, they just have to. You have to get lucky with teammates. So this is Viper. He has very interesting stream. He's a Riven main. And I mean, I watched his stream, and he's an incredibly amazing player. I mean, I'm talking, his reaction time is just... I think if he just plays a first-person shooter, he will be like a superstar as well. It's just like his like the plays he makes, sometimes he survives with like such low HP, and that's because his reaction time is just so on point. It's absolutely insane. But even he cannot control the outcome perfectly. Do you know what I'm saying? So the only way to get results like I have, you see, is to dodge the teammates. There's no other way to do it. If you don't dodge with the teammates, you're just gonna have patches like this, where it's like, now you will climb, of course you will climb, because if you play well, you don't lose that many LP. If you play, and then for winning, you get like a 23 LP, whatever, and for loss it's like 6 to 8. Eventually you climb to whatever. But again, I do not want to go through this type of experience. I don't want the system, even if I lose 0 points, I don't want to lose the game because of my teammates. And in League of Legends that is not really possible, because I watched his stream yesterday. He was playing in Diamond, and he still lost a couple of games in Diamond, and that's because 2 of his players just... He lost a game where the enemy team... Well, one sec. So look, their Draven, this is 24 minutes into the game, has 95 farm. So this is mid-diamond to low-master tier game. So 0-14 Draven, 95 farm. But his problem in here, like they have Omega Fed Kai'Sa, but when you look at the team fights, it's like, I'm gonna link this in the description below so you can see for yourself. You can look at this game and you will see that she's just not really doing anything in the team fights. She's just like not there. Like, she's physically present, but she's just not doing any damage or creating pressure or anything, right? So she's not very useful. Then you have this guy who just checked out. He just didn't want to play. I don't know, he just started trolling. At this stage, at this game, he's already just straight up not even playing. Trolling. And then Jace is just inting, basically, right? So think about it, right? You have a feeder in here. This player was kind of like, I wouldn't say he's super bad, but he's okay with bad mental. This guy just straight up not playing anymore, right? So again, he's good player, but bad mental. So he checked out, this guy checked out, and this guy is a, I would say, okay player, but not he's okay player, but he's just not skilled enough to utilize his lead. And these are like, and this is a Smurf, right? So again, we can look at so we can look at this and be like, okay, so it's gonna be a loss. You can predict it. It's gonna be a loss, roughly. Even though they have Omega Feeder and a Smurf on the team, because this guy checked out. This guy is not playing. He's just not utilizing the champion, and this guy is just not very good. You cannot win with 2 players on your team. It doesn't matter how Smurf you are, if your champion is stronger, because Aurelia is a very, very strong champion, but... And again, you look at the conditions, I mean, they literally have 4 players, but because your players mentally checked out, in League, you simply cannot carry the game alone. And that's it. That's because it's not really a skill issue. It's more of a game design issue, because I said it multiple times. There's so much CC in the game, you simply cannot dodge the damage in League of Legends. Because if somebody presses auto attack on you, it's going to land and you will lose that health. There's no way to stop it, that health from being lost, because it's a point and click game. It's not like shooting game where you can just dodge the damage by position or skill or hiding. It's not like that. So that's what I'm saying, is that the only way to win in this game is to make sure that your teammates are good, and that requires a lot of dodging. Now here lies the problem. So how long can you be dodging for? And the answer is technically sometimes for a very long time. My top record is 7.5 hours. Recorded, I'm talking about. There was time when I was dodging for 2 hours, but I wasn't full time on League. I was doing this experiment, so I had full days on League. I wanted to test the system out, and I was dodging for 7.5 hours. 92 lobbies I had to dodge. Right, so you can either play your first lobby, which takes 5 minutes, or it can be 7.5 hours. So it's not time efficient. This system is, although it works, it produces the results that you want. You can win as many games as you want, assuming that you are a good player, but it's not time efficient. Do you know what I mean? Now, an alternative is like, wouldn't it be better just to play the games as opposed to dodging and learn something? Well, to answer your question, it's very simple. First of all, there's counter pick in League of Legends. When you are hard countered, not much you can learn. You're gonna be just turret farming and hoping that your team is better. That's one problem. Second problem, let's say you get hard counter picked. You are turret farming and your team is worse. They are not going to surrender, because most player base in League of Legends are just a bunch of noobs, and they think that they can outplay the enemy because they don't understand their champions. They don't understand, for example, that Xing Zhao will never be able to beat Jax, and if Jax gets ahead, it's game over. It lights out. That's it. The game is over. But because they don't understand how the champion works, Xing Zhao, they will continue to play thinking that they might outscale Jax. It's not gonna happen. And so you get a hostage situation. It's called a hostage situation. So that psychologically starts creeping in, and you start to get very, very, very irritated and very, very angry. Right? Another situation is when you outplay your counter pick. Let's say you're playing Tryndamere, they pick Teemo. It's very hard to play against Teemo, but you can beat him. You beat him, but your team sucks, you get to lose the game, you're gonna get very angry. And it's psychologically going to have a very, very high emotional anger effect, and you will start to lose control over your body, essentially. You'll be just... You'll become irrational. So, would I rather dodge for 7.5 hours or go through this? My take is I'd rather dodge for 7.5 hours. But honestly, at this stage, I'll just go as far as to say just not play the game at all, and that's it. Because there's nothing left. Like, if you play one-on-one, just pick Tryndamere. Most of your matchup are going to be Yasuo, Akali, Yone. Zed is another one that's frequently played. So you get to win most of the time. So one-on-one is sorted. Reach high elo, a very simple formula. You take an overpowered champion, you play 2,000 games per season. Not time efficient. Or you become good, and then you need a lot less games, but you're still gonna you still have to play 500 games at least, even if you're like quite good. So again, that's not very time consuming, and I already done that. And then the final one is 100% win rate. Again, I already done that. It's fun, but you're stomping noobs most of the time because your team is simply superior, and you're a good player as well. So that just adds to it. And again, like, none of that stuff yields any profit, or you don't get anything out of it, you know. And the problem is, every single game mode except for one-on-one becomes boring after a while. It just becomes boring. Bots, like, it's boring as well because it's very predictable. League of Legends, like, when you just queue up and play every queue, it's very frustrating. It's just like, I don't know a person who actually enjoys doing it. Honestly, they just do it. Like, streamers do it because they get paid for it. I mean, donations and stuff like that. But most people are just either addicted to it, or they don't enjoy it because it's like going through this is just, it's too difficult. It's like you're being bounced between winners and losers queue and hoping that your teammates are not gonna be feeding. It's just, it's not a good experience, right? Which means, like, okay, the only way to play it is actually just to dodge, utilize the dodge system. But again, after 3 hours of dodging, you start to get very, very angry. And then another thing I noticed, like, when you get into a good lobby, like after 3 hours, you become so happy. You'll be like, oh my god, finally a good lobby. And then somebody dodges, and you become so angry. You'll be like, oh my god. And then, like, at 4.5, 5 hours, again you get into a good lobby, you're like over the moon, and then Tryndamere gets banned. You're one-trick champion. You get so angry. It's like, oh my god. Or somebody dodges. It's like... So you see, like, it's just, like... Honestly, I watched... but this is for a competitive person. I'm talking about from perspective of a competitive person. Because I watched some streams, like... you know, people who have like 1 viewer, 2 viewers, and I noticed some people don't really give a shit if they win or lose. They just kind of, like, they just have very laid back attitude towards the game. And if you're one of those people, it might be actually a playable game for you, to be honest with you. But for me, like I like to control stuff, I like to perform really, really well, I like to win. And this game, by design, is just too difficult to achieve the goal that I want. So if you are like super, super competitive, I don't think this is a good game to play. Only one-on-one until you get bored. After that, it's like not really playable. Because again, you see, like, for a super competitive person who likes to control things to make sure that he gets a positive outcome, going through this is psychologically impossible. I don't think it's psychologically possible, honestly. I understand what they're trying to do, these players. I'm talking about challenger players. I think they're trying to get to such level of skill with their champion pick or with their mechanics where they can control the game. But I don't think this is attainable goal, because you cannot control the mentality of a person. Again, we can look at this game. There is no reason for them to lose this game, but the champion picks are good, everybody's fed, but this guy is mentally checked out, and this guy is simply not good enough to utilize his lead. So you just lose. Like, there is no way to 1v5 this. So you see, that level of skill does not exist in League. And that is not something that is a skill issue. It is something that is a game design flaw, I suppose. It's a game design flaw. So you see, like, going through this is like natural part of League, which is something I don't want to have. It's just psychologically it's so difficult to go through this. So yeah, basically, like, you can think about yourself. You need to analyze yourself, right? Do some analysis paralysis. If you are like super competitive person who likes to control stuff to make sure that they get the outcome that you're looking for, I don't think it's a good game for you to play. If you're just like a laid-back person, probably you can play it, you know. But be aware, it's a bit of a slot machine. People are addicted. People are prone to be addicted to a slot machine. Okay? Take care, bye-bye.